Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday, February 8th edition of the Bart Winkler Show, coming to you on Apple and Google and Spotify if they feel like it. Oh, man. Spotify delayed me on Tuesday for like hours at a time, and I felt helpless. I don't know. I don't even know how I got on Spotify. The Blue Wire people did it for me, so I didn't know what to do. But here we are. Hopefully you found whatever. It's not like my livelihood depends on it or anything. Spotify. Grant Bilse is here for a little bit. Action. I mean, we got a loaded show. We just got a loaded show today.
Wall to wall.
Well, I mean, it's wall to wall coverage. It's we do have Solomon Wilcox from Radio Row. You thought I was joking about that?
I thought it was a hilarious bit that you just for 2 weeks were going to hype up Solomon Wilcox and then just never have him on. It's great. I like him. But I just thought it was hilarious that I thought it was a bit. It's good either way.
No. Talk to him coming up from Radio Row, man.
Good. Okay. That's a good get. Good. I'm glad.
But we are for real promoting, along with the products that I promote, we're promoting one of his products. It's called Macy.
Okay.
It is a MACI.
Okay.
It's like a thing where you replace your own knee cartilage with your own cells.
Oh, you were talking about that a couple days ago. Also, I thought you were joking.
That's all real.
Okay.
I'll be like, so Solomon, yeah, I agree with you. This is going to be a wild Super Bowl, but let's say one of these guys gets banged up in the knee. Is there any good products they should use? Or
a lot of people in the Winklerverse might be looking for not a knee replacement traditionally. Maybe they're looking to go a different route, and maybe this is what they need.
So Solomon, your passion is football, second to only this Macy product. I love your Super Bowl video, by the way.
Oh yeah, I remember that the other day. I don't think I'm gonna make a new one. I think I'm just gonna share that one every year.
The Radio Row. Do you ever have Radio Row FOMO?
Of course, everyone would want to be there.
Everyone's there, but then I would go to. I never went to Radio Row, and it doesn't seem like I ever will now. But it just seems it seemed like I'd be like, I'm looking at people, but it would make me feel even. Not being at Radio Row makes me feel inconsequential in the radio world, but being there and nobody knowing me would make me feel worse.
I think it's mostly for the hosts. I was reading Bart put something up, this
exquisite piece.
Yeah, exquisite piece.
Do you pay $39.99 a month to be a gold member?
Do they actually have a subscription service?
Yeah, it's $15 a month.
I was trying to convince Ben Kenny to pony up and go to his summit with me so we could go see Cowherd in person. He didn't want to do it, which I get. We looked at prices, and I looked at prices. It was never really in the works, but it looked fun. Right. No, I think it's more for the host. But we're Midwestern, so I would go to Radio Row and think, I'm going to make connections. I'm going to go introduce myself to people. I'm going to push the issue, and then I'd shy away from everyone because I don't want to bother anyone. So I don't know if me being at Radio Row, just because of the way that I'm wired, I don't know if I'd get much out of it. But of course, I wish I was there. But I'm not there, so it sucks, and it's the worst.
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't care. I'm going to have the next best thing, which is Solomon Wilcox live from Radio Row coming up on this podcast. From a content standpoint, should I re-air? It's not even re-airing, but I did an interview with a Jets guy on CBS about Rodgers. Also with you. Thank you for that.
It was fun. I didn't realize how many people you moved the meter on CBS Sports Radio. Because when you said, oh, Grant Bilse coming up in a bit, I got a bunch of DMs from people I know and listen to my show. But they were people who on a Saturday afternoon had tuned in to listen to you, which I thought was cool.
Wow. Good stuff. When I was on TV, Twitter was as nice to me as they've been since I got fired.
It was a nice moment. It was a good Saturday for you. You had fun with Dario. I thought you guys were enemies. I missed the part where you guys became friends again, but then you gave us the backstory. So now I feel like I'm caught up.
Infrastructure week.
It's been a good week so far.
So because I'm going to talk to you.
Yeah.
And then coming up, I'm talking to Solomon Wilcox. For real. And
I still only half believe you.
And then I was going to tack on. Well, I guess you have to listen to find out. Mm-hmm. And then I was going to tack on this interview I did with the Jets guy. And I don't like mind airing, hey, I did this on CBS, so here's on my podcast. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
I just almost feel like the Jets aren't relevant right now because it does seem, let me pull up the DraftKings odds for Rodgers' next team.
Minus 450 if you're looking for Huber's piece. I got it open.
But this isn't like, sometimes they do this like, yeah, and I pulled up the DraftKings odds. So sometimes so I'm better than you. But sometimes they do this like, if he doesn't play, his next snap will be there, right?
Yeah.
This straight bet is, for which NFL team will Rodgers take his next snap? Raiders are minus 450, which is like 80% chance.
Implied probability, yep.
I think I will air the Jets thing because they're plus 350. And then the Packers are plus 600. Then Buccaneers, Commanders, Titans, they're all like roughly the same odds. But the Packers are, if you think Rodgers is going to be a Packer, you put $10 down, you're going to get 60. Like, this is kind of wild. And so we always say, well, does Vegas know something we don't? And I think a lot of this is reactionary to Devonte Adams and Aaron Rodgers flirting with Raiders fans so much, which I don't want to be super serious about, but it does piss me off.
Well, I want to talk about that in a sec. We can talk about the odds, like the implied probability of 81%. I would love to talk to someone who knows betting really well about this, because in the state of Wisconsin, we're not very sports betting literate, because in this state it's still like 1849 or whatever. We're way behind on all these things. So that's why Bill Huber writes something for Sports Illustrated explaining odds, and we all have to read it because we don't know, because sports betting is illegal. I'd like to talk about this with a betting person and have them explain, do books just run this because they know that people are going to bet money for fun on this, and there's no football on this weekend, so they're looking to lay money? How serious are these odds? What are the limits? And is it just based on the week? Devonte Adams said something, so let's shift the odds and get some action, and it's easy money for the books.
Well, I wouldn't understand this, because you're putting the Packers at plus 600, which means if all the Packer Nation thinks, oh, he's going to be a Packer, no question, they're going to lose a lot of money. Because if we all think, well, he's probably still going to be a Packer, plus 600 odds is not they're going to lose a lot of money on that. So they either must be getting a ton of money coming in on the Raiders, and they're trying to not pay as much, or not getting enough on the Pack. I'm the fact that the Raiders are in the lead is kind of mind boggling. I just think plus 600 is so much.
Well, it's just,
and the Jets are ahead of that. So I will air the Jets guy, because I do want you guys to hear that the Jets guy thinks that Rodgers will go for a day 2 pick this year, and then a third round pick next year, maybe second if they do better. Bro, the Jets, and I would have criticized him more if I was listening to him while he was on. I kind of had him on just to take a mental break on a 5-hour shift, but I listened back before I put it on this podcast. I did listen back to it. But now you're going to have a bidding war. So, because Brady retired.
Yeah. I just, Carson Wentz went for more than that. We always say, well, this guy can't get traded. There's not going to be a market for this guy. His contract sucks. Or with the Broncos, no one's going to want that job. Sean Payton's coaching the Broncos now. So we love to tell ourselves that there's not going to be a market and no one's going to want to trade for the Kyrie Irving just got moved to a team that's very much serious. So I don't know. We love to downplay everything, and then, shit happens, obviously. They're not trading him for less than a first. I think a lot of Packers fans think, well, you get 2 1s and you get Max Crosby and Darren Waller. You're not getting that, right? But you're not getting a second and a fourth. There's a reasonable middle ground here. I know that's kind of the boring answer, but
I'm texting Horvat right now. If he responds, I'll let you know. I said plus 600 for Rodgers' next snap to be with the Packers. He gone. I mean, minus 450 for the Raiders. So one of the reasons I think for the movement is what Horvat tweeted. He just texted me back. Yep, you guys drove him away. Sad face emoji.
I knew that was coming.
Okay, so Devonte is one of the things about Devonte is I always said he's like the most secretive diva in the league.
Yeah.
Nobody realizes that he is, but he is.
Mm-hmm.
He just has dude, I tore my groin, had to get a shot of Tortorol to go to work. What? That's some Horvat too.
Horvat did?
Yeah.
What did he tear his groin doing?
I don't know. But now he's sending me a picture of him getting a shot in his ass. All right.
Oh.
I'll Now it's going to be sloppy because I'm going to have him on the show later this week to talk Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But I already taped that last week.
Oh.
Because he's at Radio Row.
Don't lines move and stuff?
Yeah, but we figured nothing would happen, and now all of a sudden Rodgers is plus 600 to be with the Packers. So Devonte obviously wanted to be traded, and then he was, and the Packers were like, fine. That I still weird, but he goes and plays with his best friend Derek Carr, and all we hear about is how great Derek Carr is, and one Hall of Famer to another, and all this stuff, and then Twitter bullied him into walking that back. Then Derek Carr leaves the team. We don't really hear much from Devonte. Derek Carr comes back to the Pro Bowl. I didn't see those two in any shots together, unless I missed it. I mean, I didn't really watch it. But
if you didn't see it, no one saw it. Because
was Carr thrown to Devonte at all? Did they talk?
I didn't watch. I don't know. I watched clips on Twitter. You watched the Pro Bowl. You're the guy.
Not this. And now he's flirting with Rodgers, and Rodgers is he's a Packer. He's under contract, and everyone's, hey, Raiders, come here. And he's like, oh, stop it. But what'd you say? And it's really annoying. And I'm kind of, this Devonte thing he's annoying me. Oh, I'm all team first troll. Screw you. If you're a troll, you don't get to say you're a troll. Then that means you're not a troll anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You either got to be a troll and commit or not do it. And so now he's gonna go to Vegas and get Rodgers with him. This sucks.
Also, and I like Devonte Adams. I think he's the best wide receiver of football. I loved him when he was my favorite Packer when he was here. But you made a massive mistake in going to the Vegas Raiders to play with your guy Carr and then Jarrett Stidham, and now you're just hoping that they get anybody competent, right? That is a mistake. That is an L. You don't get to hide behind that now by being a troll.
And he said he didn't want to play. He basically said he didn't want to play with Jordan Love.
Yeah. You don't get to hide behind this move that you made. You demanded this trade 11 months later. It was early March. I looked it up today. You don't get to be, well, of course, that's my guy, Rodgers. I'm going to get him out here. No. We're going to remember this for how it happened. You ran out on the Packers, which is fine. You wanted to go play with your guy, Derek Carr, and it went horribly. It's been a disaster. The Raiders might just cut him. They might trade him for a 7th round pick to allow Carr to save face. That's where it's gotten. And I'm trying to think of other similar situations where a player has loudly gotten what he wanted going to a team and it's gone poorly. And we always kill those guys. When Kevin Durant went to Brooklyn to pair up with Kyrie, we gave him flack for it. We said, it's a dumb decision. You're making a bad business decision. He's a bad business partner. And we've been critical of Kevin Durant ever since, even though Kevin Durant's been a good soldier, right? He's played really well and he hasn't badmouthed teammates or the organization for the most part, right? And we killed KD for that. I'm trying to think of other examples and, maybe I'll come up with some, but he just deserves to be criticized for this. We can't oh, Adams cracking jokes at the Pro Bowl. No, I'm not letting him get away with that.
It's not a joke.
Yeah, it's not funny.
He's trying to get Rodgers, which is, I don't want Rodgers to be our quarterback anymore.
Okay.
But I want him to be miserable as he made me the last 12 years. Well, I don't want him to go be with his friend, Devonte.
Well, if they do, they're going to go 8-9.
I want him to go I want it to be I want him to go to New York where they're going to be is Garrett Wilson not getting the hand signals from Rodgers? Not, oh, Rodgers and Devonte. It's just like riding a bike. 1, 2, 3. Tired of it.
I will say something I was thinking about when I was watching all those clips from Pebble, which also the golf community is holding his feet to the fire, but more people need to hold the feet to his fire about his handicap at the Pebble Beach Pro. That's because the handicap's public. You can go find his one from Green Bay Country Club and from the match with Josh Allen, all this shit. But where was I going with this? Oh, I was thinking about while I was watching Pebble this weekend, Rodgers is very much treating this offseason kind of like he's treated the last two, in that he's being courted. He's saying, well, I got all these fans telling me where I should go and this and that. And he's very much kind of enjoying, I think you made the comparison. He's like someone who's in a relationship, but kind of acting like he's single because he's under contract with the Packers. I do wonder if Rodgers is a little naive to going to another team and having it go poorly, because it's not going to be easy and fun. If he goes to Oakland or Vegas and they suck, it's not going to be, he's going to get criticized a ton. Right? Or the Jets or some of these other teams. If he comes back to Green Bay and they go 8-9, we'll thank him for all the memories, right? Because that's what the home fans do. That's what Packers fans will do for their guys.
For the memories, even though they weren't so great.
He's not getting that
like
elsewhere.
you, but sweeter.
So I wonder if he goes to Vegas and they suck and the Raiders had to move mountains to get him and do all these things. I don't know if he's considered that. I don't know if he's thought about what that reality would be like. I know they always say the grass is always greener somewhere else. I don't know. I don't know that it would be for him.
No, Rodgers, here's what Rodgers is. He's a 65-year-old guy who goes to the gym based on which scenery's the best.
Okay.
And then he's always talking about, my bitch wife. But he goes home and he hugs her every night. And the moment she dies, he will die like 3 minutes after because he will die of heartbreak. On the surface, it's like, my wife. Oh, geez, the old ball and chain. No, Green Bay's his life. Green Bay's his love. And he's just, I don't know what he's doing. But
Also,
I don't think Rodgers wants to leave.
I saw Devonte Adams, the other day.
And he knows they want to trade him, so he's trying to get out in front of it, that bastard. He does what I do. Hey, I'm going to rip on my fatness. I'm going to rip on the bags under my eyes. I'm going to rip on all the things that make me a shitty person. Because then when you rip on me for it, it won't hurt me. But guess what, Grant? Guess what?
What's that?
It still hurts me.
Is it the same with the basement? You lean into the basement thing so the basement comments don't hurt as much?
No, that's fucking ridiculous. So what if I'm in my basement? Who fucking cares?
I wish I had a basement. I just live in an apartment. I'd kill to go downstairs to my basement if I had one. It's where you go to get away from your bitch wife. That's what basements are for.
So I coaxed you into this. I'm also coaxing you into special announcement. The Bart Winkler Show NBA trade deadline special.
Make a graphic. I don't care how you do it. You need to make a graphic.
A trade deadline show at 1:45 Central Time to 2:15 Central Time on Thursday.
Okay, I'm in.
We'll do
I won't be able to prep a show on Thursday anyways because I'm just going to sit here and wait for stuff to happen. Because if you try to prep a 4:00 show with a 3:00 deadline, most likely it's going to age poorly. Or you're going to have to change it or edit it. So
Are Thursdays your NBA Lounge segment?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Right.
Well, if you need time to kill, I can come on Thursday.
Last Thursday we didn't do directly LeBron versus MJ, but I got so sick of the Rodgers talk. I'm like, we need to do something we've never done. Let's just talk about LeBron for the first 15 minutes and the scoring record. And that was the NBA Lounge. And then I just dropped very sneakily at the end of my segment before I took a break. And I think LeBron's better than MJ. And then the old heads just called for a half hour and it was so fun.
Oh, I decided on my CBS shift that that MJ's better. I finally decided it.
Why? We don't need to do this.
No, I'll give you my take.
Okay.
Because MJ must have been like the greatest player ever. Because if LeBron was an owner and he ran the Hornets the way that MJ has the last 12 years,
sure,
he would get shit on at every turn. MJ gets such a pass. They've won 3 playoff games total since he took over. And they keep drafting guys that suck. He drafted Frank the Tank, for Christ's sake.
And their guys keep ending up in, I'll say this delicately, like Miles Bridges or James Bouknight, who I really like, but he's got like 3 instances now where he's been arrested for being passed out drunk in his car with a lot of guns. Like, it's just not a solid, sturdy organization. They're just not buttoned up down there. So I'm with you. The ownership.
Well, but then that's why they drafted good old boy Frank Kaminsky, Illinois' pride of Illinois.
You haven't done the Greg Gard stuff at all on your show? Speaking of Frank Kaminsky,
what am I going to say?
I think your audience is, you're doing UWM. I liked the UWM talk on your Tuesday morning show. I thought it was really good. I didn't see the game. I saw the buzzer beater or the end of the game against Green Bay. It doesn't really matter, though.
Yeah, some people are saying I need to talk more Marquette, but like, I'm not into Marquette.
I'm not either. Why would we be into Marquette? I saw the game had a Marquette guy on one of your competing shows. So they're digging deep. But you have Solomon Wilcox, so you're countering.
Yeah, I got Solomon.
That's right.
I got Solomon Wilcox.
Also, I just text you. This is me the last thing. I just text you when I think we need to give someone more love or rip someone more. I texted you, and this is how I ended up here because I think we need to rip Devonte Adams more. We need to give Marcus Johnson more love. Speaking of Milwaukee, he's great. And I was watching the Portland game on Monday night, and I'm like, you know what? I like Marcus Johnson a lot, and I know that I do. I don't say it enough. We don't talk about it enough because he adds some fun, some spunk, and he's got good stories. He's got good history. He does a little bit of everything. And we never talk about that. And I think we should.